What is up, and welcome to another special edition of Lego on Fuego's college football picks. Now, at the time of writing this and now recording this, I don't have the actual spreads for each and every game. So what you're going to want to do is take the score predictions I give, apply them to the spreads, and there you have it. With that said, I don't like to waste time, neither do you, so let's get into it. Who do we got first?
Warning. All prediction and preview videos are recorded on the Friday prior to the week of the games covered. As a result, any injuries, benchings, and any and all information available to me and each team's last performance are unknown at the time of recording. As the season goes on, these will be more and more accurate. In other words, enjoy.
I'll go first here. We are at Georgia Tech after both of us had very difficult week 1 opponents in Wisconsin and Clemson, respectively. So who do you like? Great question, and I really like this game, so thank you for being part of the slate. Last year, you beat Georgia Tech 49-38 after a 21-7 run in the fourth quarter. There weren't any real notable breakout players in this game outside of Tyree McCants with his 10 catches for 99 yards. Now that's some productivity. Georgia Tech is probably going to be pretty deflated from that Clemson game, even though they're at home this week. Still, South Florida just looked awful in week 1 against Wisconsin. I think they'll look better this week, but they'll lose a close one, 34-29. Who's got next? I'll take this one. Huge game at home against Syracuse for us. Who you thinking? Ooh, now this is an excellent week 2 matchup, especially when you consider the Terps are at home. Now obviously there is no Eric Dungey this year, but there are still weapons for Q's. I really like Tristan Jackson, the wide receiver transfer from Michigan State, as well as Taj Harris on the outside. For Syracuse, in replace of Eric Dungey, will be Tommy DeVito, the sophomore 4-star recruit out of the state of New Jersey. Not a bad option to go to at all after Mr. Dependable graduated. For Maryland, fans outside of Terps fans might be surprised to hear that the transfer Josh Jackson from Virginia Tech is now under center. But you won't be surprised to hear that Anthony McFarland is still roaming in that backfield. Now all he did against those wonderful Buckeyes was go for 298 yards, 14.2 yards per carry, and 2 touchdowns. In fact, he was the reason why they had a shot against Ohio State in the end. I absolutely love this game. I think it's going to be back and forth with a lot of offense, and it's going to be a 41-37 win for Maryland. Just like last year, they got that big win over Texas out of conference. They do it again this year against the ACC foe, Syracuse. We've got those Hurricanes at home, who were the first team to start 0-1 this season. Thoughts? A few. Now, obviously, because I'm recording this early Saturday, I don't get to see what North Carolina did against South Carolina to judge them off of that. But I did see plenty of Miami, and I have my opinions. DJ Dallas proved that he is an absolute monster. Brevin Jordan has to be one of the most athletic and agile tight ends in the entire nation. And Jaron Williams, well, he proved to be more than serviceable under center. In fact, he might be pretty dang good with some development and time. Now, their defense did struggle tackling Florida's athletes, but those athletes are bigger, faster, and stronger than anything the Tar Heels are bringing to the table. I like Miami off of a bye and a really crushing defeat. I think they win this one 41-29. And that's actually being pretty generous to the Heels. You know, Miami won this game 47-10 in 2018. Now, who may I serve now? How about West Virginia at Missouri? I mean, that's cool with me. Let me guess. You like us, right? Wrong. You lost Will Greer. Now, Missouri lost Drew Lock, but they gained Kelly Bryant. And watch out for running back Larry Roundtree in this particular game against a very porous West Virginia defense. At least last year, that's what I have to go off of so far. I like him in this 60 minutes and throughout the entire season. That guy is awesome. To be honest with you, if you get rid of the fact that you're thinking about nothing but the Blue Bloods, he is probably in the top 5 in the running back category in the SEC. Now, with Greer and Holgerson both gone, this is definite rebuilding mode for the Mounties, which is very unfortunate because this game on paper would have been amazing in 2018. This one is in Columbia, Missouri. I think the Tigers show out in front of their home crowd after being at Wyoming, which is really weird, in week 1. I think they win this 45-32. All right, I'm on a roll now. Time to take some Big Ten games. Who we got? How about your arch nemesis? What up, no? We're at home against Cincinnati after completely throttling Florida Atlantic. Surely we roll, right? You roll indeed, and unfortunately so. Michigan actually had a tough time against Cincinnati a couple of years ago, and I think that this isn't Florida Atlantic. So in this game, you get off to a little bit of a slow start with the new players and the new coaches and all that good jazz. But you'll figure it out, let's be honest. I don't know what the spread's gonna be, but I don't think you cover it. I think that you win handily, but you get off to enough of a slow start that you don't actually cover that spread. Book it, Buckeye. How about your Wolverines, Mr. Lego? You're picking us, aren't you? I mean, I'm picking my boys to win, obviously, but this is a real test to us. And before any Michigan fan says, Army only beat Rice 14-7 last week, that's bad news for us. That means that they didn't give their best effort last week, and they know it. This week, they'll bring it. Now, we saw what Army did against Oklahoma last year. They took them to overtime, for goodness sake. And of course, Oklahoma only ended up winning by 7 points, and they only scored 28 total. They also crushed Houston 70-14 in the Armed Forces Bowl. I'm genuinely nervous for this game against the Black Knights. They're a very good football team. With that said, I think we handle business at home. Now, traditionally, we're not very good against triple option teams, and by traditionally, I mean just against Air Force. I don't know what the spread was the last 2 times we played them, but I'm pretty sure we didn't cover it. Even with Josh Gaddis's new and improved offense, speed and space. Remember, I didn't get to actually see this happen before I filmed this video, but I gotta believe the Army's gonna do their usual thing of slowly moving the ball, running the football, running the clock, and with some new players on defense, particularly up front in the front 7, that's not a good sign for us. They've likely never really seen an option attack like this. With that said, I like us to win 35-24 in this game. I don't know if that'll be enough to cover the spread. We'll have to wait and see when it comes out. Oh, you know what that sound means. Well, no, you don't, because this is the first week I'm doing it. That means it's time to pick one of the big games of the week so that you don't lose your attention in this video. Woo! And that game is, drumroll please, Texas A&M at Clemson. Don't mind if I do. Now, as someone who lives only 10 minutes from Clemson Stadium, I know a lot about this football team. For 21 years now, I've lived here. But then again, who doesn't know about Clemson nowadays? Now, their offense is obviously outstanding, possibly one of the best college football we'll ever see. And to be honest with you, this whole defensive line scenario that we were all talking about during the offseason about Clemson, I mean, it's just one game to go off of, but they didn't look that bad, which means they looked good. Now, all the Texas A&M fans are hopeful that they compete against Clemson the same way they did last year, except maybe come out on the right end of things this time. And the majority of Clemson fans that I know seem to think that they're going to run away with this one because of the scare that Texas A&M gave them last season, and because they're at home. So what do I think? I personally think that A&M gives them another heck of a game, but that Clemson breaks their heart again. I don't really see Clemson blowing them out. They could, that's for sure. Clemson could blow anybody out. Just ask Alabama. But the reason why for me is that Kellen Mond returns. All of those receivers who torched Clemson last season also return. And I know that I said against Georgia Tech, Clemson's line looked pretty good, and that wasn't an issue, but it might turn out to be an issue against a lot better football team. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Clemson's defensive line is going to struggle or anything like that. I'm simply saying that with the players they had last year, those guys made big plays at big moments. Can the new guys do it? The secondary for Clemson should be better against the Aggies than it was in last year's game, but that's not saying much, and I bet Clemson fans are like, well, it better be. Clemson in general has a smart coaching staff. They're going to make adjustments, but Jimbo Fisher's not that bad either, or his staff. I think A&M gives Clemson all it can handle and then some, but Clemson wins 34-28. All right, back to your regularly scheduled program. Who's on the slate now? Our rivalry against the Buffs in Boulder, Colorado. Who you thinking comes out on top? Now, Nebraska, most people are really high on you, and I kind of see why. The talent is there for sure, but you did go 4-8 last season, and I think people are starting to forget that. All they can remember is the end of your season. There was still a beginning. So when it comes to you, I'm much more hesitant than most. And I actually wrote this before I found out that it's 14-7 and getting closer to halftime in this South Alabama game. Now, you could go on and blow out South Alabama, I don't know. But right now, you don't look great. It is the first game, but you don't look good so far. With that said, last year you did only lose 31-28 at Iowa. You beat Michigan State. You only lost to Ohio State by 5, which is a lot better than the 23 that my Michigan Wolverines lost to them by. And you only lost to Northwestern by 3 in overtime. In other words, you lost to the 2 teams that played in the Big Ten championship game by a total of 8 points. And that does mean that maybe your record was not indicative of your play. You lost to this Colorado team last year 33-28 in a very epic and interesting and entertaining game that I thoroughly enjoyed. The big story here for me is the experience of Steven Montez for the Buffs against the youth yet talent of Adrian Martinez for Nebraska. It's pretty interesting. I mean, obviously I think one is more talented than the other in Martinez, but one has some time under his belt in Montez. I really like it, and I'm very much looking forward to that competition. Give me Nebraska 37-33 in this one. All right, quick speed round. Let's do it. We are at Purdue. Give us a score prediction, please. My pleasure. Excellent matchup, by the way. Man, Purdue really got trashed by the last SEC team they played in Auburn, didn't they? And obviously they lost at Nevada this week, but that's at Nevada, West Coast, tough game. All that scares me a little, but Vandy's not Auburn, and it's not in the West Coast. So, give me the Boilermakers 31-25. We're on the road in California against Fresno State. Your opinion? A lot of people have given me flack for taking Fresno State to beat Southern Cal 39-37 in week 1. Now let it be on the record that I don't care if they win or lose today. All I know is I have them to cover the spread. That's all I really care about. The prediction for them to win was just icing on the cake. Now, when you're seeing this video, I may look stupid saying all that, but I don't care. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. I think that turmoil is on its way in Los Angeles. With that said, I feel so much better about taking Fresno State in this particular game than I do in their first one. Obviously, I saw Minnesota struggle pretty bad against South Dakota State last night. That didn't look good. It makes me feel more confident. And then them traveling all the way to Fresno, California for this game, no thanks. Again, I can't stress this enough. We saw this with Purdue against Nevada the other day. We saw it with Michigan State going to Arizona State last year. It's not smart for teams to go and travel to the other side of the nation and play these types of games, especially when it's a pretty decent team and it can't help your case, it can only hurt your case. In other words, you have nothing to gain from this game, so why do it? I like the Bulldogs 37-28. We're at home against the Cal Bears with Jacob Eason under center. How you feeling about this game? Easy. You guys lost a really tough one against Cal last year at their place, 12-10. In researching that, I see that your 4 losses in 2018 were by a total of 15 points. With that in mind, you guys had a better season than what your record showed. You'll be ticked off after last year's results, so I think you'll crush Cal 30-15. Is that crushing them? I don't know, but it's better than what happened last time around, right? I think that's fair. So listen, you upset me last week by picking Fresno State over us. This week we're at home against Stanford. You didn't really think we were gonna start out 0-2, did you? Dude, I could see y'all starting 0-6 or 1-5. Have you seen that schedule? I mean, you won't start that bad, but I could see it. Now you lost this game 17-3 last year and you looked bad in the process of doing it. I'm on the record saying this is gonna be a very bad season for the Southern Cal Trojans. I like Stanford on the road, but you'll be more competitive than you were in 2018. I like the Cardinal 27-24. All right, 2 more quick picks before we get to LSU and Texas. Let's get it! Who's our next guest? It's your oldest friend, Rocky Top. You better pick us at home against BYU. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. I appreciate your support. It means the world to me. For the record, I'm a Michigan fan if that wasn't made clear earlier, but I'm actually a Tennessee graduate. I got my master's degree from the University of Tennessee. Now, I keep said degree right here in this tube because why hang up a master's degree that isn't worth the $20 frame that you got to get to do so? Parents, if you're watching this, make good decisions when it comes to your kids going to college. Keep them in state. With that said, one of these days I'm going to reach 1 million subscribers. I know that sounds pretty far-fetched, but there are plenty of college football fans out there, and I'm going to reach them. And when I do, this tube is going to be set on fire Lego on Fuego style. That's why it's Lego on Fuego. Because once we reach 1 million subscribers, this thing is going to be kaplooey. Because I didn't actually need it to be successful. I could just do it on my own with hard work and effort. Oh yeah, and Tennessee is going to lose this game. BYU didn't look great against Utah, but that defense is pretty good. It'll look a lot better against Tennessee. And until Tennessee proves otherwise, they have a long way to go. I understand they're starting to get some athletes out there, but they still got a long way to go. It's still a process. Cougars 34, Vols 29. Stop sending me requests to donate money to the University, Tennessee. I've given enough. Now who we got next? Arkansas and Ole Miss. That game that went to 7 overtimes that one year. Man, these teams have really fallen, haven't they? No worries though, guys. I've been there as a Michigan fan. I feel for you. It will take time, but if you're just patient, it'll get there before you know it.
I promise you that.
You'll be right on your way to doing like us and starting out 10-1 and then losing to Ohio State in the game. Now, Ole Miss took this one last year, 37-33. When I checked, it looks like Ben Hicks was named the starter, the transfer from SMU, for the Arkansas Razorbacks. He's a pretty okay quarterback, but he'll probably look stellar against Ole Miss's defense. Still, there's a lot more talent on this Rebels roster than there is this Hogs roster, and I'm not about to forget that Arkansas lost to Colorado State and North Texas in 2018. I'll take Ole Miss 40-37. And lastly, the one we've all been waiting for, Hook 'em Horns versus Gokes. Tigers. Yeah, I know it's actually go. I'm just playing around. Let's get it on! Sorry, I forgot I'm not Mills Lane. Okay, so about this game. Come on. This has got to be one of the best games we will see in the 2019-2020 college football season. Now, before I give a prediction, I know this sounds cheesy and cliche, but honestly, we won't see a loser here. This will be a solid matchup with very good play, very fundamental play, and both teams are top notch. So whoever does lose simply fell victim to what one has to do, which is be defeated. Sam Ehlinger is an absolute X factor in this game. As a result, so too is wide receiver Colin Johnson, as well as Texas's offensive line. That O-line is going to have its hands full, trying to fend off Chasen, Lawrence, Shelvin, Logan, Divinity Jr., Phillips. I mean, the list goes on and on. Obviously, we know Grant Delpit is the best safety in America. He is probably one of the best players in the nation. I mean, this LSU defense in general is what I get on that 4-for-4 combo at Wendy's. It is double stacked. I've said it before and I'll say it again. From front to back, this year in 2019, this is the best defense in college football. No questions asked. But again, Ehlinger is an X factor. If anyone can show some kind of vulnerabilities in that LSU Tigers defense, it's going to be this guy. Also, this game's at home for the Texas Longhorns. Now, you don't honestly think that those boys won't be ready to play under the lights at 7:30 p.m. against the LSU Tigers, an SEC foe, at their home field. And you don't think those college kids, after drinking the entire day, aren't going to be ready to go either? And these boys beat Oklahoma and Georgia last season, who come into this season as the 4th and 3rd ranked teams in the nation respectively. Oh, they can get it done. They can definitely get it done, but they will not here. The SEC will prevail in this type of game again. I like to roll with a better defense in this matchup, and while Texas is pretty good and probably the best in the Big 12, it's not LSU's defense. LSU's defense is sick nasty. I know I'm saying that over and over again, but you're going to find out on Saturday why I'm saying that. Texas is going to be extremely limited on the ground, and that's going to make them one-dimensional. Even with that said, Sam will make big plays because that's what Sam does. But at the end of the day, he can't do everything by himself. He's going to need some help here. Also, don't forget how balanced and methodical LSU's offense is. Texas isn't used to that. They're used to playing in the Big 12, where it's high-powered, fast, and quick offenses, quick scores, or quick turnovers. That's what they're about. They're not going to be so used to staying on the field for long drives and 4 and 5 yard gains left and right. As a result, I think they tire out quarter by quarter. I don't know if LSU is going to cover the spread because I don't know what it's going to be, but my guess is that they'll be favored by no more than 3. I'm thinking they're going to cover that because I'm picking them to win 27-23. Alright, so there you have it, my week 2 predictions. I hope you enjoyed them. I always enjoy making them. Subscribe right here if you want the most creative, fun, and entertaining college football content all season long. Like this video if you liked it. If you did not, head on over to Pigskin Pete's channel. Let him know Lego on Fuego sent you. That guy knows some football. I could listen to him for days. I'm Lego on Fuego. The fire's out for now, but it'll be back up and ready real soon. See you guys then, and God bless.